Hello, YouTube. Thank you so much for joining me for an episode of Am I the Asshole? This one was deleted from Reddit. And this was, Am I the asshole for asking my stepdaughter to wake up 20 minutes early to make breakfast? My husband and I just had our last kid a month ago. He has two from a previous marriage, Paul, 20 plus male, and my stepdaughter, Maddie, 16 female. She lives with us full time. We also had four kids ourselves: Jason, 7, Mia, 5, Lewis, 3, and our baby boy, Joshua. My stepdaughter isn't really that involved with me, but she's really close to her younger siblings. I never asked her something like this before. During my previous pregnancies, my husband was there to help out since he had a more flexible schedule. But now he has a job that requires him to be there at 6 a.m. Minimum, when our kids mostly wake at 7 to 7:30. Lately, I've been really tired since Joshua is a big crier, and I decided to take the long nights since my husband needs to sleep well or he might have an accident on the job. This caused me to have big migraines because I sleep very little and I wake up to screaming children running around. My stepdaughter is very chill. I take almost no care of her since she's pretty self-sufficient. She is 16. During morning, she prefers not to eat breakfast since most times it makes her feel dizzy throughout the day. So while she wakes up with the kids, she just stays in her room getting ready. Today, I pulled her aside and asked her if she could wake up 20 minutes early so she could help me making breakfast for the kids, and I'll wake up by 8 to take them all to school. This will give me one more hour to sleep and feel ready for the day. She said no because her siblings are pretty energetic and she doesn't feel she can take care of them or get Lewis to eat all of his food. It also means that she has to make sure that Jason and Mia are ready for school, dress them, and make sure everything is in their bag so I can just grab them and take them. I tried to explain how I've been feeling really bad because I'm not sleeping well, and she shrugged and said, "I said no. I'm not their mom. Ask Dad to help you or get a babysitter. I also stay up late doing homework, but I'm not asking you to make me breakfast every day or drive me to school." And she left. I texted my husband what happened, and I mentioned how I would like it if we could convince her. But he said I was an asshole and that Maddie was right. We spoke on the phone and he sounded pretty mad. He said that I better not ask her again and that he'll take the rest of the nights with Joshua he'll take the rest of the nights with Joshua and I should have asked him before. I'm confused. I only asked her to help and wake up 20 minutes early. She lives with us after all, so I don't know why this is a big deal. Patty Dole said, "First of all, you are not doing your stepdaughter a favor by allowing her to live with you. Your husband was her father before he plagued himself with your toxic existence. She doesn't owe you servitude. She is a child who has needs that must be met. Of course you are an asshole and you know this. I'm glad your husband stood up for his daughter since you clearly didn't give a shit about her and view her as a live-in maid. She doesn't like you for good reason. There was nothing likable about you or your attitude toward her or the other children. And get that man you fucked and sucked to help you with the children and hire some help and stop dumping on a girl that clearly you resent having around unless it somehow benefits you." Ooh, dang, this Patty Dole, she has no filter. I like her. Captain Space Pants says, "You're the asshole. Your stepdaughter was 100% correct. You are the parent. She is not. She isn't just making breakfast. You're asking her to do the full morning routine for all of her siblings. That is not okay. Totally not okay." Reaction Euphoric 5362 says, "You're the asshole. Totally this. She didn't ask her daughter to heat up a breakfast casserole she had pre-made or throwing something in the toaster. She asked her to do everything to get all those young kids ready to go in the morning. Feed them, dress them, get them ready. She knew it would all fall to her. And the daughter came up with very real concerns that were completely brushed off. She's a kid you're responsible for too. I could see a future where as soon as she's able to get away from you, then she will have limited to no contact. You're the asshole. Good gracious. You chose to make your kids breakfast daily. Do you not teach them self-sufficiency? On the weekends, my mom cooked breakfast for us on Sundays. But Monday through Saturday, she pre-measured cereal and milk for us when we were younger and left it in the fridge for us. Covered cereal on the table, already in the bowl too. Your stepdaughter is not a bonus mom. What possessed you to go to her first and not their father, the other adult? It's the internal misogyny for me. When I watch both of my nieces, I have always made sure to ask my older niece to help a little bit, but never in the line of something this major. Don't have more kids than you can take care of, and as she said, your husband was right there. SRDM 1463 says, my guess is that she stays in her room because if she'd come out, she'd be roped into childcare. Koala Psychologist said, replies to that saying, this was my first thought. Breakfast with screaming kids would make anyone dizzy. I bet that dizziness started around the second child. I suspect the husband already knows that, and she avoids breakfast at home. Last comment. Jelly Gel says, had she asked her daughter to wake up 20 minutes earlier to help her with breakfast and the kids, she might have gotten a different response. What she asked for was the kid to parent 4 children until she sleeps until 8. No one is going for that. Am I the asshole for taking my son on a hiking trip 2 weeks after my daughter came back from the hospital? The rating is no assholes here, so I'm going to go see if I disagree. Or agree. I am a father of 2. My son and daughter are both teens. At the beginning of the year, my daughter was in an accident and broke her back. She spent several months in rehab, relearning basic tasks and strengthening her arms so that she can do ADLs independently from a wheelchair. During this whole process, my wife and I have been nothing but supportive, visiting her every day and doing everything we can to give her the best chance of recovery. Unfortunately, this has left us with less time to support our younger son. He understands why most of the attention is with our daughter right now, and both of our children have been in therapy since our daughter was injured. So 2 weeks ago, our daughter finally came home, and it's definitely a bit of an adjustment for everyone to make sure she's still getting the care she needs. Our children had to switch bedrooms as her bedroom was previously upstairs, and there have been several other changes around the house. My son has been a trooper throughout, never complaining about the room change or anything else. A week ago, he approached me and asked me if we can go hiking this weekend. We usually go on hikes as a family every Father's Day weekend, but obviously this year we wouldn't be able to do that. I told him we could go, assuming my wife would be fine with it, considering how the past few months have been fully focused on our daughter. So it's only fair that my son gets 1 day to do something he enjoys. I mentioned this to my wife, and she agrees to stay home with our daughter. So the weekend comes around, and yesterday I took my son on an 8-mile hike at a nearby state park. We had a great time, and there were no issues until we get back to the car. I get a call from my wife who informs me that our daughter is in tears and that I need to get home now. My original plan was to go to dinner with my son and after we finished the hike, but instead we headed straight home. As it turns out, my daughter was upset that we would do a family tradition without her. I tried to explain that we weren't trying to exclude her. I was just trying to spend some time with her brother as he hasn't gotten much to himself lately. She didn't take this well and called both my wife and I hateful cunts. We understand that she's still adjusting, so we let her know that she wasn't in trouble, but she still hasn't backed down. We originally planned to do a family brunch for Father's Day, but she's refused to participate. I do see why she's upset, and I understand that she's going through a lot, but I think she's overreacting and doesn't yet understand how hard it's been on her brother too. So Reddit, am I the asshole? The ruling is no assholes here, and I agree. In the comments, there are a lot of people talking about how they could have included the daughter in the story, but that is not the point. Son has been a champ throughout all of this, and daughter has to realize that she is not the only one that this accident has impacted. I feel that maybe she was the golden child beforehand, and it's putting more pressure on them even now. But the main thing I hate in the story is how the son is overlooked because daughter can't do the same thing. This reminds me of the Disneyland video I posted where the wife said it wasn't fair that her daughter couldn't go to her brother's best friend's Disney trip, so wife tried to leave him at the grandfather's house during a family vacation to make it fair. So while I do feel the daughter's meltdown is a bit much, calling him and making him turn around and cut his trip short with his son was very unfair to him. So a few comments before we wrap up here. Super Awesome WTF says, no assholes here. It's unfair to penalize the son. He can't have one full day with his dad. She may not be able to go out to restaurants yet, so why can't he go out with his dad? He's essentially had all of his needs and desires put on the back burner without once complaining. Yet, you think he shouldn't have had a full day? Come on. Redditor 181613 says, no assholes here. Your daughter is still recovering from this trauma and adjusting to her new life. And part of that adjustment is realizing that you can't do everything you used to. My best friend had a similar accident a few years ago. She had similar reactions to your daughter when she first got home. It's just a coping mechanism, and it will likely pass, so I don't think she's the asshole. Your son does deserve alone time and attention, so I don't think you're the asshole for doing something he wants to do since, as you said, he's been a trooper and really accommodating. I hope your daughter continues to have a healthy recovery. Juby D says, no assholes here. Your son deserves some normalcy in his life given all the abrupt change he's had to endure. He's young and that's difficult. I can't imagine what your daughter is going through. And I can understand her frustration, fear, anxiety, etc. about the changes in her life. I can sympathize with her desire to be included in all the ways she previously was, but that's not that's not currently her reality. She'll have to adapt to the way all of you have. You planned a family outing. That's the best you can all do right now. I do think her use of that language is uncalled for and should maybe even be punished, but the place it's coming from is understandable. Sounds like everyone is doing the best they can. An anomaly 12. Spending time with your son wasn't wrong, but maybe this particular family tradition should have been put on hold for 1 year, and then in a couple of weeks, just bro's hiking trip could have happened. There's so much emotional weight associated with hiking so soon. Potty Mouth Pup says, they didn't go as a family without the daughter. The son was the one who asked OP to take a day together and suggested hiking. Yes, it's painful for the daughter, but while she's been in recovery and understandably the focus of pretty much all her parents' attention, the son has unintentionally been getting a bit of a shaft. A response of, sure, I'd like to do a father-son thing together, but we can't go hiking or do anything else we did as a family or that your sister enjoyed doing but can no longer do, would have reinforced any feelings the son has that he's second fiddle or must put his own desires aside to avoid his sister being upset he can do what she no longer can. So the last comment is from Cool Cats saying, not the asshole. I think it's important that you spend time with your son. I also think your daughter needs more time to adjust, and after she calms down, you can have a conversation with her explaining how her brother has been pushed aside to accommodate for her. And while that's no one's fault, it is still important that he receive attention and love as well. So thank you for joining me for this episode of Am I the Asshole? And I hope you have a great day. What is your ruling? This is a really, really tender situation, and I think OP handled it very well. I do think that he should not have been made to break break everything off so abruptly. But I really do think that this is a really, really tough situation. And anyone in the comments, have you ever faced a situation where a sibling was overlooked in this in a similar way? Have a great day, and thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for spending your time with me. I really appreciate it, especially if you made it to the end of this video. Please leave a comment, rate, comment, subscribe, and just thank you for spending your time with me. Namaste.